It says, the Harry Truman Good Neighbor Award presented to Barry M. Goldwater, United States Senator, whose family helped build Arizona, who served the war effort beyond the call of duty, whose devotion to our country has been a guiding light for the younger generation, whose own unique sense of duty brought many a GI home safely, whose frankness has become a national byword, and whose generosity, anonymously given, helping friends and strangers alike, has been a way of life for him. Today, in the Truman tradition, we are honoring United States Senator Barry M. Goldwater, a true patriot, by awarding him the Harry S. Truman Good Neighbor Award. Senator?
Thank you, Bill.
And what's more, there's a sculpture here I can hardly lift, and it is presented for the same reasons. And Senator, I'll
Thank you very much. Look right here. Wow. My friends, there's no way that I can adequately express my thanks to all of you for having awarded me this recognition, which if I were real honest, I'd say I don't deserve, but being a rather selfish individual, I'll sure take it. I want to add my welcome to the foreign students and tell you that I can't think of a better place in the United States to become acquainted in a general way with the United States than this great city of Kansas City. It's naturally, being a Westerner, I'm a little prejudiced because Kansas City is really the starting point for all of those families that wandered out into the deserts and the forests and the beautiful lands of the true West. I'll never forget one night with President Truman. It was in Chicago, and we were both speaking to the Order of Ahapa, which of course is a Greek organization, a wonderful organization, but their dinners have a way of never ending. And I was seated at the head table with Harry, or President Truman, I should say, and I was asked to speak first. Knowing he was going to follow me, I told the audience how honored I was to be there with the President, because in my mind, he would go down as one of the truly great presidents of this century. I got a pretty good hand on it until I passed President Truman on the way back. He says, "Why the hell did you have to say that?" It was true then, and it's true now, and comments were made about my campaign in 1964, and I believe all I was doing was trying to get American people to use a little horse sense. And that's, after all, what made Harry Truman so good, particularly in my mind. I didn't necessarily agree with all of his politics, but I sure liked the way he told it, and I liked the way we could wake up in the morning and say, well, here we are, and our president stands here or there. I think that's nothing more than we've been trying to do, those of us who have dedicated ourselves to the American concept of freedom, which I remind you is the only reason we have for living, particularly in this country. Our forefathers didn't come here to get rich. They came here to be free. And I'm afraid there are too many Americans around this country that are forgetting that. They think it's more important to have the material things of life than the freedom that enable this country to become the great producing country that it has become. I think that coupled with that was another facet of President Truman's life that sometimes we tend to overlook. In fact, too many Americans overlook it. The idea that through strength we can stay at peace. And this has been proven down through all the years of history. A strong country is never attacked, and I firmly believe that had we been strong in the 1930s, had we let Mr. Hitler know that a step on a friendly country was a step on our shores, there wouldn't have been a World War II. And here today, we look at our world and we find our world divided, unfortunately. We find the Soviet Union not with a monolithic concept of communism, in fact, a rather ancient, worn out, failure concept of communism, yet able to dominate many parts of this world. Only 17% of the people who live on this earth are free people, and that's gone down from 30% in about the last 15 years. I remember the days following Mr. Eisenhower's term of office when the American people began to become a little bit ashamed for no reason of the United States, began to feel a little bit self-guilty because we were the world's greatest military power. These are the people that talked about détente. I'm happy those days have gone, and I wish for those people who proposed those things and tried to force them down the minds, force them down the throats of Americans, I wish them happiness wherever they've retired, and I hope to God they stay there. I want to just remind you, and I think this might be well for a few foreign students to think about, because I've been in many of your lands, and I know that there beats in the heart of every man and woman and child in this world the desire to be free. But there's a price. We Americans were willing to pay it for a long time. Now there are days when I wonder if we're willing to pay, if we're willing to make the sacrifices to keep this country strong enough so that we will not go to war. And eventually, I pray, strong enough as we were right after World War II to prevent any country thinking of the idea that they might become the world power. I wanted to leave that one message with you because I think if Harry Truman spoke more eloquently of one thing more than freedom, I don't know what it was. We were strong under him. We had decisions under him. And if I sounded something like him, maybe some of that Democratic stuff rubbed off on me. And I thank God. I want to thank all of you for having given me this honor today. I promise you only one thing. I'll keep on trying to deserve it. And I can promise you that my children and my grandchildren will do the same. Thank you.